News with Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, we already talked about the burger heard around the world. Let's talk about the tongue lashing literally heard around the world. This audio is coming in white hot right now on the viral headline spectrum. Tom Cruise let his anger fly after 2 crew members were found breaking COVID protocols during filming of Mission Impossible 7. The Sun published an audio recording from that. We do have it. So according to sources, the outburst happened because Tom saw 2 crew members not adhering to social distancing, basically standing on the set, looking at a monitor, not 6 feet apart. Tom also argued that the entire film industry hinges on them following protocols. The movie is set to open next November. He makes some good points, though. I have the whole audio, then we may have a special treat for you. But it's not just about, he's not like white knighting the COVID protocol. He's trying to keep the set, the production from being shut down. And he has feelings of,
Keep in mind, he's not only he's one of the few in the world above the line stars and producers. Like his money is on the line. This is his production. If it gets shut down, they're in deep shit.
He does get into that a little bit. So this is the whole, about 2.5 minutes. It's not super easy to hear because he is wearing a mask and there's a lot of room tone, but you'll get the idea.
We are the gold standard. You're back there in Hollywood making movies right now because of us. Because they believe in us and what we're doing. I'm on the phone with every studio at night. Insurance companies. Producers. And they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs, you
Wow.
That's gross.
I don't ever want to see it again. Ever! And if you don't do it, you're fired. And I see you do it again, you're gone. And anyone on this crew does it. That's it. And you too, and you too, and you. Don't you ever do it again.
Hold on, pause it.
That's it.
Another good candidate for my Southwest Airlines. Want to get away? Tom Cruise is fucking going nuts on your ass.
You're holding a boom mic
in front of 200 people.
Oh, my God. Do you want to get away?
$150 million production.
And also, Cruise strikes me as one of these guys where I yell about shit every 20 minutes, so my kettle doesn't gain that much pressure because I'm constantly blowing off my relief valve, just complaining about the fucking pool man or the red turn arrows or whatever. I feel like Cruise keeps it all under that lid, and 5 years goes by. But man, you do not want to be next to that pressure cooker when it finally blows.
No, it'll scald you.
Right. All right. Sorry. We can continue.
That's it. No apologies. You can tell it to the people that are losing their homes because our industry is shut down.
He's kind of right.
It's not going to put food on their table.
What's he know about the industry?
College education. That's what I sleep with every night. In the future of this industry. So I'm sorry, I'm beyond your apologies. I have told you, and now I want it. And if you don't do it, you're out. We are not shutting this movie down! Wow. Is it understood? If I see it again, you're gone. And so are you. So you're going to cost him his job. And I see it on the set, you're gone. And you're gone. That's it. Am I clear? Do you understand what I want? Do you understand the responsibility that you have? Because I will deal with your reason. And if you can't be reasonable, and I can't deal with your logic, you're fired. That's it. That is it. I trust you guys to be here.
That's it.
He says one more thing.
That's it, guys.
Well, I kind of wound it down. I
I
got to
like the
tell you,
clap, the Taylor clap at the
I
end.
don't find anything objectionable in there.
Yes, but don't you feel right now that you just got yelled at? I have
Yes.
anxiety. That
I
was
feel
horrible.
invigorated.
There is a kind of danger in being so far up the food chain that when you get into arguments with people, they don't argue back.
You're left there just kind of going,
You got this
Yes,
fucking
sir. Yes,
big
sir.
head of steam, and then it always rolls into some redundant world because you're like, this industry counts on me. Do you understand? Am I making myself clear? We need people like me to continue. Am I making myself clear?
Yes, Tom.
Yes, sir.
Here's what I'm saying right now. What I'm telling you now is you do this again and you are out. If you understand that if this is done again, if I see this again, like it always gets in because you're in a fucking vacuum. You just say you take arguments like a nice tennis match. You know what I mean?
Nice back and forth.
And you also need shit to go off of.
Yep.
See, when no one talks back, so you don't realize your argument. Who was talking about the elephant? Kevin. Trying to think of.
Oh, Kevin Nealon.
Kevin Nealon, right? See, I don't know why we need Billy the elephant. I don't know, Max. But what I'm saying is here's how arguments work. You don't know it. You think you got enough material for your argument. You don't have enough. You got enough energy. So the way arguments work is you have 10 minutes of energy and 90 seconds of material. And so what happens is somewhere before the 90-second mark, the person you're yelling at needs to go, hey, I was just standing at the monitor. He came up. I don't care who was right, because now you can reboot.
Yes.
But if the person, you're just playing handball against the drapes, you know what I mean? Like if nothing's coming back, you realize anyone who's like yelled at a kid or yelled at a spouse, they come at some point, they go, it wasn't even my idea. I don't care whose idea it was, right?
Wait a second. Is that why when parents are in the middle of yelling, they ask you what you have to say for yourself?
They're out of material.
Give me something.
What do you have to say for
Blow
yourself?
on my
I
fire.
don't want to hear it.
Right. You have a belly full of energy, but a head, you got about 80 seconds worth of thoughts and a belly full of 10 minutes. And that leads into long pauses and lots of redundancy. And you need that person you're arguing with to push back or a good shitty excuse.
Yeah.
Is
Fan the flame.
It's always fine. Or that part where you go, how many times am I going to tell you never to double up on a monitor? And they go, I didn't hear you say that. Now we get to reboot.
It's back on.
It gets back on. It's tough when they just leave you floating out there. So again, but that's what happens when your star shines too bright. No one can push
Heavy as
back.
a head that wears the crown.
Billy the elephant. Yeah, this is what happened to Kevin Nealon. He had 1 minute. 1 minute to speak in front of like the L.A. Chamber of Commerce or something about freeing Billy the elephant, and he had no partner up there in his improv troupe pushing back or bringing up a piece of information. And also, he figures if you're Kevin Nealon, you're like, I go out and do hour and 10 minute stand-up shows. What's 60 seconds on an elephant? It just makes us laugh, so we should play it.
I am Kevin Nealon, and I am not anti-zoo, but I am anti-inadequate zoo. And I just want what's best for Billy the elephant and not what's best for the LA Zoo. And it's, I feel that, if an elephant has a choice to go to a habitat or a sanctuary, like the one down in Tennessee, I'm sure that they would take that in 1 second. From the history that we've understand about the LA County Zoo, it's not a great place for elephants. You look at all the elephants that have died there since 1975, and it's not good. So I'm in favor of moving Billy out of the zoo, as I think everybody should be, and I'm sorry that so many people are misguided with the exhibit, for the plans for the exhibit as it exists now. Thank you.
All right. Well, that took 45 seconds. Yeah. Time alone talking is it goes very slowly. But God bless Cruz. And I do kind of think, Gina, I'm curious as a woman. I think everyone likes motivated guys and go-getters and hustlers and the guy's got a fire in his belly and stuff. It doesn't, being with Cruz, wouldn't that just be too intense? Like, it just be too much?
It feels exhausting, even when you hear about like, oh, he was on Oprah and he found a pregnant woman, a PA, and he sat her down and gave her a massage. Like, just hearing that story makes me exhausted. It's too much.
Also,
it's too much.
I just feel like there'd be a lot of him walking into the kitchen and going, frozen yogurt before 1 p.m.? Oh, and you'd go, but it's Sunday, Tom.
And then
it's still 12:45.
And, like he I guess the lore is, I think it's actually Steven Spielberg said this on, Brian, what was the movie, what was the apocalyptic movie that Spielberg?
War of the Worlds?
Thank you. On the set of War of the Worlds, I guess they set up like Scientology tents and stuff for, crew or whatever. And I guess Tom was, really wanting Steve to be involved. And Steve was like, Tom, I'm good. And just had to keep saying that over and over again because Tom will wear you down with his charm. Oh, my God.
Well, I bet Schindler's List, for God's sake.
War of the Worlds was a fake movie because at the beginning, he had his Hertz.
A lot of reasons.
Well, but here's the main thing that bumped me. He had that Hertz Rent-A-Racer. He had that 65 Mustang, and he's rebuilding an engine for it. He's like, I'm rebuilding the 302 that goes in this. And those cars all came with 289s. And I was like, well, now I'm out. I don't believe a fucking thing that happens next in this movie.
Everything else would have been on the table.
Why would you put a fucking 302 in a Mustang that takes a 289?
Bye-bye suspension of disbelief.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dawson mashed up Cruz already?
Yeah, it strikes us that
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Gina is correct that it's just so abrasive to be berated by Tom Cruise that it just fits a little bit better when blanketed with soft rock.
We are the gold standard. You're back there in Hollywood making movies right now because of us.
You sheltered me from harm.
Because they believe in us and what we're doing.
Me warm.
I'm on the phone with every studio at night.
Me warm.
Insurance companies.
You gave my life to me.
Producers.
Set me free.
And they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs.
Finest years I ever knew.
I don't ever want to see it again.
For all the years I had with you.
Ever.
And I would give anything I own.
Am I clear?
Give up my life, my heart, my home.
And if you don't do it, you're fired.
I would give everything I own.
That's it.
Just to have you
And you.
back again.
And you too. And you too.
You taught me how to love.
If you ever do it again,
What it's up,
no apology.
what it's up.
Tell it to the people that are losing their homes.
Never said too much, but still you showed the way.
Not going to put food on their table.
From watching you,
Pay for their college education.
nobody else could ever know.
That's what I sleep with every night.
The part of me that can't let go.
Am I clear?
And I would give anything I own.
And now I want to.
Give up my life, my heart, my home.
What are you doing?
I would give everything I
And
own.
if you don't do it, you're out.
Just to have you
Is it understood?
back again.
We are not shutting this movie down.
Is there someone you know?
Am I clear?
You're loving them,
If I see it again, you're gone.
taking them all.
All right.
For granted.
Nice job, Dawson.
You're gone.
It
Always
also,
pleasant.
it also strikes me that the vacuum arguments, eventually, you don't have enough material to sustain the actual argument, whatever happened. Because that can be taken care of in 14 seconds, the two people
Right.
stand. And the problem with the vacuum arguments is at a certain point, they have to get a little autobiographical. You know, at some point you go, you two standing. I didn't leave the streets of Plentywood, Montana, raised by a single mother who turned out to be a lesbian, to come here and find this bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, at some point you have to talk about you and what you've done and how you have to get into your backstory. It's, again, there's not enough material to sustain the argument. Now we have to start taking a walk down memory. I lost my girlfriend on prom night. You understand? She would still be here if people like you. Right. Sorry.
Yeah. When you're doing it in the name of the bigger picture, but it's really so self-serving. I hate when arguments get to that point, and I'm guilty of it too. Every good boss sort of goomper, argument, eventually the boss turns into what they've done, how they've worked. They're the ones. They didn't. Right. It always goes that way. And by the way, if you're working that angle, people who are arguing, you're now kind of off topic. 100%.
Right.
It's neither here nor there.
Yeah, right. It has nothing to do with the point you're trying to make. So we have a new movie to look forward to, talking about autobiographies. This is a, what's it called? When the person doesn't sign off on it.
Unauthorized.
Thank you. God, that was driving me insane. Of Ms. Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee.
Ooh.
British actress Lily James will play Pamela Anderson. Sebastian Stan from Gossip Girl will play Tommy Lee. This will be a limited series on Hulu. And their infamous sex tape will play a major part of the show, according to Deadline. The story will also chronicle their relationship going back to their whirlwind romance when they got married after knowing each other for about 96 hours in 95. Seth Rogen will play the man who stole the tape, which was at the center of the huge legal dispute. I used air quotes because I still feel like in some circles that's disputed. The Baywatch star and Motley Crue drummer are not involved in the production, which has the working title Pam and Tommy. So we will look forward to that.
Yeah, Tommy came on the show a couple months ago and just sort of walked through every detail of that, and it makes sense. I mean, first things first, Tommy Lee is a boy child. That's his thing. He is mouth of babes kind of thing. So he's not like the Spin Doctor kind of guy. Like, if he's just telling you this is what, I don't mean from the band. I just mean, like, he's not just
he's not going to spin on things.
He's not that dude. He's just he's brutally honest and earnest and earnest like an 11-year-old is earnest, and when he tells you, here's what happened, and we were in Europe, and then we came back, and then we saw it on the news, and then the safe was hidden in the garage behind a piece of carpet. When he tells you all that stuff, it's like, at least that's exactly how he experienced it.
Absolutely. And I remember, I'm just remembering it now. There was an article, I did no research because it's literally just coming to my mind. There was an article about this from years ago from like Esquire or something. And I think that article got optioned. So I wonder if this is the result of that. If, Seth Rogen is playing a major part in it, as the guy who stole the tape. I think it was from that article that told this story. So yeah, I'm inclined to believe him after you said that as well.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that.
Lizzo defended her 10-day juice cleanse, which caused many people to accuse her of promoting diet culture because, you're either eating too much or eating too little. I bring
Isn't
this up.
Diet culture just dieting?
Well,
maybe culture.
It's oppressive, Brian.
On Tuesday, Lizzo sent a message to those people with a video message. She blamed unhealthy eating over Thanksgiving for the reason she did her detox. As a result, she says her sleep, her peace of mind, her stability have improved and never one to shy away from anything, including, various states of undress and all of her opinions. She put up this video for the people.
Your body is perfectly yours, even if it ain't perfect to anybody else. If you only knew the complexities your body possesses, you would be so proud of it. I'm so proud of you for making it this far in a society that gives us a head start into self-loathing, that hands us a dysmorphic mirror and leaves us desperate to catch up with who we think we should be. I've spent so much time in this body, and I am no different than you. Still struggling to find balance, still trying to mend my relationship with food, my anxiety, my back fat. It gets easier. I've spent my hardest days trying to love me. If I have any advice, it is to eat, drink, move, rest. Your job is to grow. Your job is to figure it out along the way. Regardless of what I or any so-called expert says, you love you. And I hope you remember that.
Yeah, me loving me or you loving you. Is that, I don't know, is that doable? This part where you just go, here are your marching orders. Love you. My problem is it's all based on, it's all on a contingency with me. Like, if I fucking lay around for a week, then I don't love me. If I get out and do shit and take care of business, then I become agnostic on myself.
It's only someone to not be depressed. It's like, well, I either am or I am not.
Well, and it's also, if you are morbidly obese, it's probably going to and not working on it or trying to control it or trying to fight the good fight, as we talk about with Vinnie Tortorich, then it's going to be hard just to kind of love you that way. Lizzo's weird because I just saw something on TMZ where she was crying because of all the body shaming, people. It's like, here's what happens. She gets in a thong. She twerks by the pool. She films it. She puts it up on the internet. And then she gets comments that say, you go, girl. And then other comments that go, you're a disgusting pig. You need to lose weight. And then she reads those comments and then she gets very upset.
Stars, they're just like us.
I would argue that if you film yourself in a thong twerking and you put it out there, you're going to get some feedback. That's unfortunately that's where we're living. And if you don't want to get upset over that feedback, you should perhaps think about the decision to film yourself twerking and then putting it out there. But if in fact you do, the feedback will be somewhat negative, or some of it will be negative. And if you focus on the part that's negative, then you're going to be in this sort of perpetual depressed state. What does Lizzo do?
She sings and plays the jazz flute.
Oh, she plays.
Singer
She plays the flute. Yeah. Well, focus on the flute. You know what I mean? Let's hit that piccolo.
Well, and
stop trying to. It's weird. First off, it's an unwinnable battle if you say, I'm going to film myself in my underpants and I'm going to put it out on the internet. And if your math is, if I get 100 positive comments and 3 negatives, and I will drill down on the negative, if that's the math you're doing, it's an unwinnable math.
Right.
Of course.
You'll always be miserable.
Well, and then think of someone like Gabori Sidibe, who she was Precious, in the movie, and she's done, other roles and stuff.
Sure.
And, she just went to the Oscars or whatever. She had the nerve to show up to the Oscars in, an elegant gown and took her picture on the red carpet. And people blasted her because she's a very big girl and made some comment back like, oh, I'll be crying all the way home about this in my private jet, because maybe that was just a front or maybe
Hold
it wasn't.
on.
But she was.
Are you saying a private jet can take off with Gabourey?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well,
but it's like I love that because we're all that person. We're all someone who's received a negative comment and,
right.
It hurt our feelings or it made us think twice about ourselves or about what we did or whatever. And to hear someone go like, fuck you, I'll cry with my Emmy and my Oscar in my hands was just, that's all of us. And so when Lizzo cries and says, yeah, I twerk by pools and sometimes at basketball games and sometimes I hear shit and it sucks to hear. It is nice to know that money doesn't protect you from that because it makes you more real. But I don't think anyone Lizzo's size or I don't think that you guys follow the same people on Instagram that I do, but there's like body positive, whatever. And these people, at least the ones that I follow, they're constantly posting videos at like working out, and like doing whatever. Like sometimes you're just the size you are.
Yeah, I know. I agree with that. Good and bad. That's generally. Here's the way I would couch it. And Gabourey, I spoke to at length at Jimmy's wedding many years ago. She was a fan of mine. Wow. Maybe she was a fan of Loveline or something, but she's sweet, and we had a nice talk. Here's the way it works, to the best of my knowledge. Some people have to do nothing, and they look fantastic body-wise. And we all went to high school with a few of those. We all know some of those people today. Most people are somewhere in between, which is, well, I'll look good in my underpants or I'll look bad in my underpants, but that'll kind of be up to me. And then there's the ones that are just fighting the battle. And for them, at that point, it's as if you have a disease and you're diabetic or something and you cannot have honey in your tea or whatever it is. Like it then becomes kind of a full-time job. So what you're saying to those people is you must work 5 times as hard at this as the average person. And it's kind of hard to judge. So then the judging is like a two-way street. So on one hand, it's kind of like, well, how can you judge this person who has to work so much harder at it than the others? On the other hand, it is an option. It is on the table. I mean, we've seen enough examples of people that we kind of thought were just that person who have lost. I'm trying to think of Hudson, the singer.
Jennifer Hudson.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if she had bypass surgery or a gastric bypass.
She was a Weight Watchers spokesperson, so I imagine she stuck to that program at least a little bit.
Maybe. I don't know how it works, but I mean, we've seen. Look. I went to high school. Brian will tell you. Like I went to.
How about this bald-headed fella sitting next to your side for the last however many years?
Yeah,
lost 50 pounds. Huh?
Yeah. Well, again, funny because a guy I went to high school with who sort of fluctuated a lot and then got really big. And we said to him, "Hey, man," and I saw him and he'd lost a whole shitload of weight. But it always reminds me of Brian's. Like, how'd you get down? It's like, stopped drinking soda, started walking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, that's not going to help, the deep spectrum, 2%, 3% who are just physically, have a metabolism that is not going to cooperate. But I would argue for the people who do have to fight that battle, and that battle's twice as hard, I would say, what's your choice? You know what I mean? I would say that to anyone in a wheelchair or someone who is blind. Like, okay, this sucks. Now what's your choice? Get in the fetal position and get depressed and, dive into a bucket of Haagen-Dazs. So, I definitely feel sympathy for those people. But on the other hand, Vinny got hold of one of those people and you gave them 6 months, there'd be a big physical difference. Yeah. Right. Even no matter how far they were on the spectrum.
Absolutely. And he features people like that every day that are, sending before and afters and are grateful to him. But I also like that in that little clip that Lizzo put up, that she even said, it's not like she's admitting something shameful, but she does admit and keeps it real and says, there are things I have to change, like my relationship with food. Yeah. And the people talk about outliers. The people are like, I could take or leave food. I don't get you. We are not from the same species. It's nice to hear someone else say that out loud.
Yeah, I've realized though, the problem. I wrote this down a long time ago, but I haven't brought it up yet. The problem with food or cigarettes or booze or beating off, for that matter, is the more you say no, the faster you do it. You know what I mean? So it's like when
your fetish, when you're beating off.
Your relationship, cut a hole in that pizza. What I'm saying is like when you start, anytime I start thinking, okay, food, okay, easy, okay, food. Now I'm just saying food.
Yes.
I'm just saying food.
Yes.
And it's 10,
I said the same thing.
It's 10 minutes before I'm going for something shitty. And the best is the food. Oh, yeah. What time is it? Right.
It's time to eat, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's kind of a weird thing, but telling yourself don't think about this or don't do that. It's a much quicker path to whatever it is you're trying not to do.
100%. I used to say the exact same thing, just with the specifics of saying, for instance, if I keep saying to myself, don't eat pizza, don't eat pizza, don't eat pizza. Eventually all I hear is don't eat pizza, don't eat pizza. Pizza sounds good.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same.
Who hasn't tried this with the don't call that ex-boyfriend or don't call that ex? I'm actually dialing while I'm doing the mantra.
Right. That's right.
Yes. If I should trick myself and go, you should call Stephanie. And I'd go, well, I'm busy. Leave me alone. Let me finish my business. Why you hassle me, dude? I'm just saying, I think you should call her. I will. Okay, I heard you the first time.
Just check in. See our family.
I want to take a nap. Can I take a goddamn nap?
Be the bigger man for once.
Yeah.
Can I fucking finish my meal here? Do I have to fucking run to the phone? I'll call her. Just give me some time. And by the way, I'm not your puppet. Me. I don't do your bidding. You say jump, I say how high. I don't think so. I'll call her when I'm ready.
If we say so.
Right. You could.
Fine, we'll be that way.
I actually, if somebody said call your ex-girlfriend, it would take 10 times as long for me to call as if I said stop calling her. Now it's on. Let's do one more, Gina Gran.
You got it. Well, let's talk word of the year, because you knew it was coming and you thought you knew what it was, but it might surprise you just a little bit. So this is from dictionary.com. Sometimes there's Webster's. Right now we're doing dictionary.com. They've chosen the word of the year, a word that beat out pandemic, a word that beat out the phrase dumpster fire. It beat out apocalyptic. It beat out pandemonium. The word of the year is unprecedented. And the editor says, how better to describe 2020? This shows just how much we humans hunger to find the right word for trying times, how sensitive we are to language, and how not even a pandemic can put an end to that great unifying pastime of complaining about our language pet peeves. Unprecedented.
I don't know. Do we need everything of the year now? I feel like we're getting to that point where there's just a list at the end of every year and no one remembers
Adam, I don't think
what the word was the year before.
I don't think you understand how slow the news cycle is.
Slow news
sometimes.
cycle.
I need to know what Pantone's color of the next year will be, because sometimes that's all I have to work with.
Also, can we get that drop of Adam asking if we need everything of the year and play it before the Ace Awards?
Yes.
When we're going to have 40 of the years.
We do that for the goddamn people, Brian. It delights the people. All right, let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.